All right, everyone, it is that time once again for the Spooky Season Yapping Session. If you guys are new here, this is a series where I've taken the latter half of September into October, all the way until Halloween, to kind of watch Halloween movies, horror movies that I've never seen before. Yeah, this is the last one. You're either rejoicing right now or sad, like me. Anyways, for this last one, I watched a classic from 1973, The Exorcist. I know, I've never seen this movie, and since watching The Conjuring, I was like, okay, I know there's another movie that's similar in terms of, yeah, someone's possessed, and this is the one I was thinking about. So yeah, in this video, we're going to talk about it. Now, before I take some time to talk about it, if this is something that you guys enjoy or have been enjoying the past couple of weeks, this past month, please consider a subscription, a like. Anything helps me immensely. Thank you guys. So we've got The Exorcist from 1973. It's a story about an actress who's doing a movie shoot in Georgetown, on Georgetown's campus. So she's a big movie star. She's got this house that she's been renting out for I don't know how long. I don't think they say. But so she's got her, a couple of people who work for her, and then her daughter, Reagan. So they're all living at this house. Reagan kind of finds this Ouija board, starts talking to it, and then unknowingly has let a demon enter into her. So stuff goes down. There's this big party. That's kind of the start of the weird stuff happening with this 12-year-old girl. She comes down. She says some weird stuff like, oh my gosh. She doesn't say, oh my gosh. She says, everyone's going to die. Basically in a deadpan voice. People are creeped out about it. Why am I going that much into detail? Anyways, so she unknowingly lets this demon inside her. Then we're going to switch over to the other side of the story where we follow this younger priest. I forget his name. Damien Karras? Father Karras? Karras? I forget how to say it. Anyways, it's this younger priest who is having his reservations about the priesthood, that sort of thing, losing his faith. He's watching his mother die, basically, and then he felt responsible for her death and kind of guilty that he wasn't there when she did die. So he is the other main character of this story, and then kind of as the events go on, and Reagan, the daughter, goes to all these hospitals, these doctors. They can't figure out what's going on. All the tests are coming out negative. Reagan's mother, the actress, is getting desperate to figure out what the heck's wrong. So after a crazy event where the director of the movie gets killed and there's an investigator involved, Reagan's mother finds out through these events that, hey, my daughter was the one who killed this director, this close friend of mine. It wasn't my daughter. It was whatever the hell is inside of my daughter. So she goes to the priest, who at first didn't really think that it was this sort of demon going on. But eventually he realized, yeah, this is what's happening. Called in his priest friends. One of the older priests who has done this before came in, and they perform an exorcism on the young girl. They try and get the demon out. Stuff's happening, and then eventually at the end, the younger priest kind of tells the demon, come inside of me instead. Leave the girl alone. I'll take her place. He does, and then the priest in that moment wanted to kill the girl because he was under the influence of this demonic presence, but instead he had enough kind of self-will to throw himself out the window, the bedroom window, and then ends up dying from that. That's the synopsis of the story. You know, we'll start with the things that I disliked. The first thing that I disliked right off the bat is, let's see if we can find some images. The puke. Like, that is like Nickelodeon slime. I don't know why they did it like that, but it's whatever. It happened multiple times, and I was like, that is not realistic puke. What else did I not enjoy? You know what? Actually, I take that back. We're going to start with stuff that I did enjoy. Since it is an older movie, it had a different kind of style to it, a different vibe. The way they talk, the dialogue, the way the story is unfolding. At first, I was getting a little bored, but I think that's a personal problem just because everything nowadays is like snappy, quick. It's gotta kind of flash back and forth and stuff going quickly, or else we lose interest. That's just a thing of today more so than back then, so I'm not going to critique the movie for that. It was, yeah, the beginning part, I don't really understand why they started in, where was it, like Iraq or something, with the older priest, and then he found, I don't know, it was a slower start, but once it started going, and I was hooked. I was invested in the whole thing. I liked the actors. Yeah, so first of all, the standout performance was the little girl, Reagan. Linda Blair is who played her. So yeah, here she is. But she did a phenomenal job. And I think, if my research was correct, she got nominated for an Oscar for that role. And rightfully so, because she did amazing. Yeah, because obviously at first she's this mellow, kind of happy-go-lucky girl. And then obviously the possession happens and this chick is acting as that demon, basically. And she just did a great job. So kudos to her. She was incredible. I liked the actress lady, Chris McNeil, played by Ellen Bernst. Sorry. Wait, what? I can't read. Ellen Burstyn. There we go. And then Jason Miller as the younger father priest. Yeah, he was cool. He was giving me like Rocky vibes almost. Maybe all actors looked like that back then. I don't know. But he did a great job too. I liked him. So yeah, the acting was great. The vibes of it being the 70s, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And the story overall was great. Especially the arc of the priest, when he was feeling guilty about his mother's death, that sort of thing. So, and then kind of shying away from the priesthood, from faith, and then getting pulled back in and giving it his all for this little girl to help save her, and then obviously sacrificing himself at the end for that to happen. So I thought that character arc, that part of the story, was great. One thing I will mention, now that we're on the topic of actors and acting and it being back then, I don't know what Hollywood was doing in terms of child actors, and I don't even think I want to know, but I know Hollywood, they've got weird stuff going on with kids, but like especially in this, I was like, what are we doing here? There were like multiple scenes where it just did not feel appropriate to put a 14-year-old girl at the time, Linda Blair was 14, into those situations. There were a couple, like the one, the bath scene. You could have done that scene without her being in the bath. She was completely naked. Obviously, you didn't see anything because she was hunched over, but still. That, and then there was the, like when she was getting x-rays and stuff. Not x-rays, I don't know what kind of scans they were at the doctor's office. And they were just, I think, showing too much. And I don't think it was necessary. I just thought it was weird. But she did a great job, though. She did a fantastic job. So that weird Hollywood stuff aside, she did great. We'll just stick on the topic of her, though. So her character, another thing that I thought was, I guess, well done. Even though it made me uncomfortable, it was well done just from the nature of demons. Like, the emphasis of the demon wanting to defile this girl sexually. Like, there were multiple times where, if you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. She was always like yelling F me, that sort of stuff. And then that one part, the demon was using the cross to, like, at least from what I think, it's very accurate to something, to some demon, for some demon to do that to, well, in this case, her character is 12 years old. Because, yeah, God made humans. He made them to be pure, especially a young girl. And just for the demon to want to kind of rip that away, I just thought it was accurate and well done. As uncomfortable as it made me to see it, as uncomfortable as it made, I'm sure, a lot of people to see it, for that to happen to a young girl. And but like, that's what they want. And when I say they, I mean like demons, the devil, that sort of thing, is to ruin what God created in grotesque ways. So I thought that overall was an interesting, and I'm leaning towards a good way to depict that and that horrific thing, I guess. Does that make sense? Anyways, let's get off. That's enough about Linda Blair, about the character Reagan, about the girl. I thought it was, once again, I can't say it enough. She did a great job. One thing that I wish turned out different was the ending, how the old priest ended up dying, and the young priest ended up dying too, but the young priest sacrificed himself. I wish they got out of it alive. That would have been nice if everyone kind of made it out. Obviously, Reagan made it out, which is most important, and it was good to see her at the end, being herself again and happy, and seeing those scars. Yeah, she comes out of the house, and obviously she's got the scars all over her face, that sort of thing. But yeah, it was good to see her get out of it alive. And I just wish that the two priests made it out as well. But what you gonna do? Now, this is a horror story, a horror film, a horror movie. So how was the horror? It was good. It was good. I feel like us today are more desensitized to the whole horror genre, just because of how extreme a lot of horror movies have become. But this in the 70s would have been insane. That's all I'm saying. Maybe not so much at the beginning parts, and there were a couple like trying to scare you a little bit in the beginning, like when she was in the attic and that sort of stuff, or like the noises, the pounding on the attic kind of steps, or the trapdoor thing. So those things weren't that scary. And for the longest time in the movie, the scariest thing was the damn doctor machines, the medical machines. I was like, this is freaking me out more than the actual ghost stuff. Like, what? Yeah, because it was like buzzing and whirring and jabbing Reagan with sharp objects. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't watch. But yeah, then it got pretty scary, and uncomfortable, and that mix of scary and uncomfortable, kind of when all the Exorcist stuff was happening, and when she was looking like that. But you know, it wasn't like yeah, that, jeez, stop that. Anyways, it wasn't unbearable. I'm sorry you had to see that. Let's see if it stays up on YouTube. Who knows? But it wasn't unbearable. It was it would have been unbearable in the 70s, at least I think. Because I know I've seen Halloween. That's probably the oldest horror movie that I've seen. It, maybe, the first one before they remade it. Those weren't scary to me. This one was the scariest of the older. And I'm sorry if I'm in my 20s, so all of this is old to me. But you know, it's whatever. But yeah, It wasn't unbearable. It was pretty scary though. Was it? Yeah. Yeah. But overall it was a good horror movie. And I see why it's a classic. I see why it comes up in those lists of greatest horror films, that sort of thing. Because it was a good story. In terms of just horror, it's a classic. So I knew that this would have to be one of the ones that I watched before this wraps up this year. We'll see. Maybe I'll come to it again next year if I'm still doing this. But yeah, I think it was a good one to end off on. Anything else? No, I don't think. I think I talked about all the movie stuff that I wanted to talk about. So that being said, what is my ranking for it? What is my review? Out of 10, I will give The Exorcist from 1973 a 7. 7 out of 10. It was a very good movie, and I enjoyed it a lot. There were a lot of good things that I liked about it, a couple things that I didn't like about it, but overall, it was great to watch. And yeah, for the last time, Linda Blair did a fantastic job. So yeah, this is bittersweet, but I can't believe that the Spooky Season Yapping Sessions are almost over. We got one more, the big one, the Avengers of the horror movies that I watched, where we bring them all together and then talk about it. Until then, that's kind of all I wanted to say about The Exorcist. If you haven't seen it before Halloween ends, and if you're into this sort of thing, it definitely is worth the watch. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Once again, thank you guys for watching this. If you've seen it this far into the video, thank you for staying. I think if you're this far, that deserves a like. What do you think? If not, that's okay. I'll just cry myself to sleep or something. Who knows? But yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. All right. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.